This is to up his TV show ratings, and then we'll get back to normal. And fast forward a couple of years, and I'm running his domestic policy agenda, and continues to be and continues to be one of the great honors of my life. He was an amazing boss. I would work for him again if the timing worked out. He was just incredible. We had a lot of incredible ladies. As I think we had more moms on our senior staff in that West Wing than in any president, Republican or Democrat, in the history of the country. Between us, Sarah Sanders, Ivanka Trump, Mercedes Schlapp, a few Kellyanne Conway, we had 19 school-age children. So we often joked, working in the White House was nothing. Dealing with Kim Jong-un was easy compared to getting all those children up and ready.
Well, Brooke, that fact about the women that were in these key positions, that wasn't because the president sat around saying, I need to get a bunch of women because that'll make, score points in the polls.
No.
You were there, obviously, because the hiring was being done on merit, and you were the best people available for those jobs.
Well, and as we all know, because it was reported widely in the press, President Trump suffered 0 faults, right? No incompetence allowed, which is a little unusual for the government, not unusual for private sector. So, by the last few years, we had the most incredible senior team led by the most incredibly competent people and a lot of incredible women. So I say all that because when we talk today about family policy, family value, how that led to the America First Policy Institute, to your original question.
Well, I think a lot of people, including our listeners, they read the newspapers and they watch TV and they hear the spin of reporters and experts and so forth. But I think many of them would be surprised at how much in the previous administration and today in your work, what conservatives are working on are ideas that will lift up all Americans. And I know I've always been interested in, and you have been, that the minority community has been failed by big government. Big government talks a good game, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. But what people are looking for is opportunity and freedom. And I think those are two things that are really at the heart of what the Institute is doing.
Well, that's exactly right, Gary. And to your point, and this is why people are surprised when they hear me say, when I left Washington on January 21st of 2021, I was more encouraged, more enthused, more convicted that what we had achieved in those 4 short years in Washington with the ideas of more freedom and less government, and what we had proven the concept to all of Americans, job growth was at its highest in the entire history of America for Black Americans, for Hispanic Americans, for Native Americans, for Asian Americans, for Americans without a college degree, for Americans who didn't finish high school, for our veterans. The numbers were staggering, and it was over and over and over again. So the idea that to help those with the least of my mess, as we're called to do in Matthew, that's not more and bigger government. It's creating in our founder's vision, and frankly, steeped in Scripture, the gospel of Jesus being the greatest force for human flourishing in the history of the world, and the United States being sort of the petri dish for that, and to see that flourishing happening in a way that was unprecedented under the policies of the last administration is such a miracle from my perspective and such a blessing. And so now we take that, we package it. One of our big initiatives at America First Policy Institute is called Athletes for America. We've got dozens of former NFL athletes, former MLB, we have a few less NBA players, but I'm working on that, and others. And the idea is that we build this communications machine that doesn't go to talk, Gary, to people like you and me, but goes directly into Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right into the community, right into the urban area where poverty has been generational, and makes the case. And again, this is not Republican or Democrat. This is freedom. This is America first. This is how we lift our families up. This is how we repair and bring families back together. And when we do, those people are with us. They are our people. They love God. They want a better life for their own children, which they've never had in their lifetimes. They don't even know what that means, but they got a taste of it in the last administration. So our job is to ensure it's not about a certain candidate. It's not about one race. It's about how we move those ideas out. We change hearts and minds, and we build an army for God and for America in a way that, at least in my lifetime, and maybe in most of our Americans' lifetimes, we haven't really seen. The pieces of the puzzle are there. Incredible organizations like yours, the churches, the people on our side, small business owners. Again, this whole new wave of believers in freedom from the Hispanic and Black and blue collar communities. Now it's time for us to get out on the field, leave it all there, and win America back.